Understanding architecture. Materials. Architects choose different materials depending on the project they are trying to accomplish. Some of the important factors include durability, visual appeal, strength, cost, and ease of maintenance. For the durability and visual aspects, buildings designed by architects will constantly be influenced by weathering, also known as the influence of climate, and customers' decisions, so the appearance will have a definite change over time. Some materials may be benefited by weathering over time, including stone and bricks, which can give a rustic appearance that may be desired by the architect. Materials are also chosen according to an architect's vision, and choosing the most attractive material is absolutely essential. The next factor is strength. Strength is very important for the overall structural integrity of the project, and material failures like fractures, buckling, fatigue, and creep may occur without it. Fractures are the separation of materials under stress. Buckling is the deformation of a material under a heavy load. Fatigue is the material constantly being exposed to stress, resulting in fractures or other material failure, and creep is the tendency of material to deform under constant stress below a material's strength. The next factor is cost. Architects have to find a way to work within the budget while maintaining the same building quality that they envisioned. Architects can reduce the cost of materials by using local materials, since there is no requirement to specially order anything extra. Sometimes architects can also try and use the same types of materials to reduce the amount of material wasted, which can reduce costs dramatically on a large-scale project. Steel costs around $20 per square foot, but is very strong. Lumber costs around $5 per square foot. Finally, the last aspect is ease of maintenance. Some materials can be easy or difficult to clean or keep in working condition. The aesthetics of the overall project may require less maintenance to give a more natural look, or more maintenance to create a sense of elegance. For example, people can use wooden windows or aluminum-clad windows. However, wooden windows would require giving the material a finish and a stain, while aluminum-clad windows would require little to no maintenance over a longer period of time. Construction techniques. Once the artist has created the blueprint for their plan and gotten all the materials ready, they can start construction. There are 8 main construction techniques that have been used for ages. This includes the load-bearing wall, non-bearing wall, post and lintel, arch, vault, dome, truss, and framed structures. These people are using modern construction techniques to raise a roof. Walls can either be load-bearing or non-bearing. A load-bearing wall has to support the weight of itself along with floors and roofs, and with non-bearing walls, the most weight they have to support is its own. Load-bearing walls tend to be thickened, since they have to resist a lot of lateral forces that may cause material failures. However, they can also be thinner at the top, since most of the load is at the base of the wall. These walls are used most often to support floors and coverings, excluding the dome. Non-bearing walls are used when the load is carried by other structures, like reinforced concrete or heavy timber. These walls usually are just used as room dividers and serve no other purpose. This is a load-bearing wall used to support the floor above it, and this is a non-bearing wall used to divide a house into multiple rooms. Next is the post and lintel system. This is where there are 2 upright posts, and the lintel is laid across on top of them. Failures are usually caused by the weight being distributed unevenly or the eventual sagging of the lintel. This method of construction was primarily used in ancient times with structures like Stonehenge or many Greek and Roman structures. Next is the arch. The arch is an opening with a curved top that can support loads from above. It was used when constructing the Roman aqueducts and is still used a lot in the modern day. The arch created the basis for the vault, which is the next construction method. The vault is an arrangement of arches which creates a ceiling or roof. It was used a lot in Roman architecture, but has gradually lost its place in the modern era. Another structure that evolved from the arch is the dome. The dome is a hemispherical structure that forms either a ceiling or roof. It allows for pressure to be spread across its entire perimeter, and modern developments have made domes a lot bigger than they used to be. The most prominent dome is the dome from the Hagia Sophia. Another extremely important construction technique is the truss. The truss is created with straight pieces of material that are then arranged into triangles, and is extremely helpful since triangles can resist stress very well. They are extremely useful for building structures that need to achieve long spans, like bridges, roofs, and towers. Finally, there are frame structures. This is arguably the most important construction technique in the modern world. It is a structure that is able to stand because of an internal skeleton, and the skeleton itself is able to stand by itself without floors or walls and resist deformation. The most important example is the Eiffel Tower. Maintenance and preservation. All buildings have some kind of historical significance, but deciding whether it will be preserved because of historical significance can be decided by standards set by the Secretary of Interior. Before registering as a historical building, there are many things that need to be identified, including the ownership and potential use, restoration options, specific features that will be preserved, and proper techniques of preservation. There are 6 different options for saving historical buildings, including preservation, restoration, rehabilitation, adaptive reuse, mothball, and moving it. The Andrew W. Mellon Auditorium is an example of a preserved structure. Preservation involves keeping the original materials and protecting and conserving the history of the building. Restoration is a type of preservation focusing on returning the building to its original time period and involves using the original materials and blueprints to reconstruct the buildings. The William O. Douglas Federal Building is an example of a preserved building. Rehabilitation is making proper repairs to make the building useful. It allows additions and upgrades, but the areas of historical significance are kept. Adaptive reuse is saving a historical building by modifying the original purpose, which allows for the historical characteristics to be preserved, but the inside is repurposed. Mothball is just pausing the project while they secure funding or find a purpose for the building. Finally is just moving the building. Sometimes the building isn't able to be preserved in its original location because of the elements of nature, and the only option left is moving the building to a new location. General maintenance is usually done for all buildings to check the structural integrity and keep the look that the architect envisioned. The Kirklees Council building was mothballed. Famous architects. There are many architects around the world who have created fascinating structures. Some extremely well-known architects include Daniel Libeskind and his Jewish Museum, Frank Gehry and his Walt Disney Concert Hall, and Frank Lloyd Wright and his Falling Water structure. Daniel Libeskind was born on May 12, 1946 in Poland, and he earned his architectural master's degree from the University of Essex, England in 1972. The project that brought him international fame was winning the competition to create a Jewish museum, in addition to the Berlin Museum with many artifacts related to Jewish history. The floor of the structure resembles the Star of David, and there are many other little details he added to create a disorienting feeling throughout the structure. The next architect is Frank Gehry. Frank Gehry was born on February 28, 1929 in Toronto, Canada. He studied architecture at the University of Southern California and city planning at Harvard University. Gehry was known for his music venues, and one of his most famous is the Walt Disney Concert Hall, which was built in 2003. Finally is Frank Lloyd Wright, who was born on June 8, 1867 in Wisconsin, United States. He received his education at the University of Wisconsin at Madison in the engineering department since there were no architectural courses offered. His most notable work is his Falling Water House, which revived his architectural career because of the construction over a waterfall.
Hello, reader. Thank you so much for reading Patrick's book. We hope you enjoyed and look out for more content to come.